some of the general changes going on is, if you're playing on Steam, in addition to, there are some settings in the game itself where it's going to access things in your computer so that if you're playing against somebody and things are starting to get kind of choppy and laggy, it's going to adjust the game automatically on its own to try to make sure that you have a better experience. They're saying that in this update, if you're playing on Steam, Steam will also help calibrate that automatically, which is handy. It's not 100% perfect if there's lag, but the fact that it's there is unbelievably helpful. So, it's a great thing. The practice mode. It will save the previous practice mode settings. They toned down the heat system in general. Characters were balanced and adjusted. Every character has had some type of an adjustment, balance, or change. Heat dash causing a wall stagger is now removed. Too much. So they're trying to focus more on, you know, sidestepping and movement and things like that. So that, you know, things in Heat were adjusted. And I think it's a really, really good step in the right direction. Now, some of the characters we're going to go over in very broad terms here. So, Victor had nerfs and buffs. He's new deals, or no, he's a new character to the Tekken series. He's a core character to the Tekken series. He's not DLC. So Victor's would get in your face and freaking stomp on you. And what they did was they said, okay, you know what? We're going to make you have more stance transitions. If you're going to do all of this, we're going to make you transition into different stances. You're going to earn it. Good. His heat expulsion. You were able to sidestep it now. And, yeah, that's what I have. Heat expulsion, you're able to sidestep it now. His abused moves have been nerfed, but they buffed his mix-ups and parries. So you have to know how to do, you'd have to know how to do the setup for the mix-up. You have to know how to do the parry. You have to know how to switch his stances to be able to get the mileage out of Victor now. You can't just mash it out. Good. Steve. Buffs. Steve has different stances also for his boxing. They adjusted Lionheart, so he can now cancel out of a standing position and make things a lot more easier and fluid for the Steve players. So they're happy. Devil Jin is feeling like crap. Devil Jin got bopped a bit. King. Buffs. Well, buffs and a little bit of nerfs, but King players, Kings can wave dash. More emphasis on the wave dash. No more homing command throws. That has been removed. Yoshimitsu. Buffs. Paul. Big buffs. They reduce the distance in between hit with his heat engager so that he has easier follow-ups now. I'm nervous about Paul, to be honest. In the right hands, Paul's pretty devastating. And he's even better now. We're going to be seeing some Pauls really out there kicking ass. So, this is very good for the Paul players. He's going to be more plus, and he's going to be dealing even more damage out there besides his super punch, you know. So Pauls are going to be very happy. Jack buffs to his throws and some of his general moves. That was a little surprising to some people, but some of his stuff did need worked on. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to even things out a little bit. Nina got some nerfs. Not a ton, but she did get hit a little bit. Her down back too, especially, got nerfs. We'll talk about Kaizia last. Elisa got some nerfs. Asuka got some buffs. Lily got some nerfs in general. She got a damage nerf, and some of her spammed moves have been adjusted. So forget it. No, I don't mean that. It's the same as Victor. They want you to do different routes of things to try to get to the end goal. They did the same thing in Street Fighter V. Towards the last third of Street Fighter V, they said, we have V skills and V triggers that are not being accessed, and some characters that weren't being utilized. Excuse me. So what they did was they adjusted those characters, those skills and triggers, specifically to make them more user-friendly and a better choice than the initial one. Now, some people still went with the first choice because they were prone to using it, but in the end, people did switch back and forth. Oh, hey, what's up there? Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Faye. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Got a raid there. Can't wait to bust out that's right, the Mega Paul, man. Yeah, he's gonna be wild. He's gonna be wild. Gonna have to call it there before the servers come up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jello. I appreciate it. Hoveron. Buffs. Buff to the Power Crush. Reina. Reina players, the ones that were new Mishimas, did not know how good they had it, because they were out there doing all this willy-nilly. And let me tell you something. She got freaking adjusted. She got adjusted. They said this pressure is too strong. Granted, that's the point of having some characters in the game, okay? But here's the key, right? Let's say you have a character and they have fantastic movement, fantastic range, fantastic damage, moves that track, armor, good momentum, right? You have a character like that, and they're wiping everybody out. In a while, it can be a lot to handle, okay? What I think the key is sometimes when you have a character like that, then what you gotta do is drop the damage on them So they can still do all the fun things, but they're not gonna blow you out of the water for it, you know? I think they looked at her and said, she has literally everything you need. All we have to do is just adjust her because her pressure is just too much. And they tried balancing her out. Lars, he got some nerves. Some of his stance transitionings now are, if you do them without being cautious, they're unsafe on hit. So Lars players have to be more aware of what they're doing, and a lot of times, you know, that's what a lot of this really is about. It's if you're spamming a move, if you're not aware of when you're doing it, you're going to get blown up because you're either going to get caught on startup or you're going to get caught on cooldown. And I'd get blown up all the time because I'd get snuffed out of my freaking electrics. You know, snuffed out of electrics, snuffed out of the beginning and startup of Hell Sweeps, you know. Or if a Hell Sweep's blocked, too, man, you're stuck. Somebody blocks an electric, that's actually good for me. Because I have some block stun to work on. But, Hell Sweeps are a different story. Akusina. She got adjusted equally. So she got some nerfs, but she got a little bit of buffs too. What they're saying is, Akusina players, hey, guess what? You had your forward momentum, craziness, good stuff. Now we're doing the same thing with you that we did with Victor. We're making you focus on stance transitions. So stance transitions is the main thing that they're going to be really looking at for her. Jun got buffs, which I'm a little nervous about. Zafina, she is, at the same time, she's treading water again. You know, Zafina's, you have to be really, really careful with her. She could be very elusive. She could be tough to react to. Now in 8, she's not that high on the good character list, but they have her balanced out right now where she will now have easier access to juggle opportunities. However, because of that, some of her damage has been reduced. So they kept her balanced that way. And you know what? Really, at the end of the day, the endless stages are pretty much not a thing. Zafina's, you know, characters with really good movement, they can't just pick the endless stage, the wallless stage now and just escape. They'll hit you, go in for some damage and then just run and run and run. Not really happening anymore. This here is the largest stage, but there's still a border on it. And the subconscious mind stage, there is an endless stage, but you have the floor break down to it, so it's not initial. Law got some nerfs. The nunchucks have been adjusted. Xiao Yu balanced out. Raven, he was basically balanced out also. Nothing too wildly crazy with Raven. Brian got buffs. Brian looking much better. And now you gotta really watch him, because if he's in counter hit, he's gonna freaking light you up. So Brian players are going to be trying to catch you swinging, and then it's going to be lights out. Leroy got some buffs. Now, Leroy, when he was introduced in Tekken 7, was very good. And in Tekken 8, he struggled. And they've been trying to figure out, you know, how to work him through. And what they said was, okay, you know what? One of his moves, which he utilizes, is cane. You can only utilize the cane once per round. Well, they said, okay, you know what we're going to do? If you use the cane, you can only do it once, and then that's it until the next round. Well, if you interrupt the cane, and he doesn't actually make contact, then the cane's gone. Well, they fixed that. If I interrupt the cane, and it doesn't do any damage, he gets to save his turn, and then he gets to keep it until he gets damage on me. So, I think that's fair. Lee. They stabilized his follow-ups. Lee and Kazuya had some problems where juggles were not consistent. And they fixed the boxes on those to try to have more consistency in different situations. So that means we get to talk a little bit about what's going on here, which is a lot. So Kazuya got a lot of buffs. And he and Brian and Paul are all in the very, very happy fan club right now because they really got adjusted very, very, very well. Kazuya now has an even better 50-50. Now, they did nerf his Devil Fist. Because remember, you can't... They're trying to balance things. His heat in general, I believe his heat in general got nerfed a little bit, but that's because the heat in the whole game got nerfed a little bit. Flash Punch, which was unstable, remember we said he and Lee had things that weren't consistent. It's now better. If you're in the devil form and you're hitting 1-4 for Shikwe, it will eat less of his blue bar up there at the top. If you would use it, it would use about 50%. Now if you do it, it's less and it can beat a Power Crush, which is good. If you hit down, forward, 1-4, which I would do all the time, the hitbox is fixed. I would do it, and I'd just keep doing it, because I've been doing it for 10 billion years. So if it's good or if it's bad, I'm probably going to keep doing it. That's pretty upsetting. But they made it better, so now I'm going to do it more. Down forward 1 and down forward 2, you guys see me doing that all the time too. So if I start up with a launch and then do back two, and then I'm saying all these things. Well, we'll talk about it. And then you do down forward 1, down forward 2, and he basically goes like this. He juggles the person across the screen. They fixed the hitboxes on that. It's easier now to juggle that. Some of these things, I'm happy that these adjustments are going through, but it's sort of funny because when you practice and practice and practice and practice them, it's sort of like you're trying to always get used to whatever the game is. I had never thought that the boxes on them were that crazy. Now, I knew some of them weren't ideal choices, And I did notice in some situations, if you're in a game, then, you know, things are going to be messed up, you know what I mean, and drop. But I think that's probably the reason why things were adjusted. If you hit down forward 3 and then 2 1, that is now more consistent. If you hit down back 1 and 2, that has been nerfed, which is a heat engager. If you hit back 1, it's better. If you hit back 2, 2, and down forward 1 plus 2, you guys see me doing that all the time also. So he'll do like a back fist, he'll do a back fist, and then he'll do a laser, right? And even if the laser blocks, it gets more chip damage. But the funny thing is that it drops. Now, I don't drop it in the training room, but I drop it almost all the time online. And now it's easier. They made it more stable, and you can get a follow-up after it. So that's very good. That's very, very good. If you hit forward, forward 2, and you get your, if you're in double, well, if you hit forward, forward 2, it's like a rush punch. And I've been trying to utilize that more. But if you are in devil form and you hit forward, forward 2, and then you hold back, then you should be able to get a wall splat if you're close enough to the wall. It'll launch someone over. I think that it was giving out a throw. It was doing something, and a throw was involved. I don't necessarily remember that, but I saw it. I saw it in the notes. Down forward 1 plus 2. Down forward 1 plus 2. I don't remember which one that is. Anyways, well, let's see. Oh my. Wait a minute here. That can't be it. Oh god. No, it's down forward. 1 plus 2. Huh. Down forward 1 plus 2. It's not for aerial combos anymore. It's safer for an offense starter. Well, that's just down forward 2, isn't it? Terrible. Throw this thing sideways. I'll be damned. Yeah, that's down forward 2. Wow! Okay, yeah. Well, that's just... Oh, that's because this is left arm. That's his left. This is his... It's the same one. I'm gonna have to look this up. Well, I remember... See, this down forward 1, it was very, very, very good for just starting things off in offense. And I remember learning that in Tekken 7, so if they made it better, I mean, more power to you. Like, I'm all about that. That's good. It says here, safer as an offensive starter. So generally, that's kind of what's going on there, as an overview of different things. But it looks, you know, it looks very, very, very promising. Now, they did say that this 6 months here, right at the point that we're at right now, is the big patch. Then there will be maintenance things going on and quality of life things going on, but not big, huge blanketed adjustments like this until another 6 months down the road. So that is the point of action that they are taking with this, which I think is fair. Street Fighter's, you know, doing the same. You know, they gather all the information. They, you know, take feedback and see what's going on and the stats of what's actually going on. They compile it, they analyze it, and they say this is what we need to change, A, B, C, and D. So, and then beyond that, it's tweaks of things to try to balance everybody out. So I think it's a good direction. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. A good thing. So those are the general changes for this patch here.